Okay, so we're gonna start with kinematics, which is the first module in your textbooks. So within kinematics, there are three subsections, which is relative velocity, resultant velocity, and projectiles. So let's start with relative velocity. What do we mean when we say relative velocity? So relative velocity is basically the velocity of an object relative to another object. Let me give an example. Let's say you are in a car, which I will call car A, and then right next to you there's another car B, and the two cars are traveling in the same direction. Let's say they go into the east, and they are both traveling at 120 kilometers per hour, so they're traveling at the same speed. So if you are in car A and you are looking at car B, what you will observe is that it will seem as though car B is not going anywhere because it's moving in the same speed as you, because you are in car A and car B is also moving at 120 kilometers. So in that case, the velocity of car B with respect to A becomes zero kilometers per hour, because it would seem as if car B is not moving relative to you when you are in car A. Let's give another example. Let's say you are in car A, that's car A, so you are in this car and you are moving to the west, which is to the left, and then there's another car which is car B, and it's moving towards the east. And both these cars are still traveling at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. So that's their speed. So if you are in car A and you are looking at car B will look like it's moving faster than it actually is. So if you're looking at car B, the velocity of car B relative to you will be 120 plus 120, which will give you 240 kilometers per hour. So that will be the velocity of car B relative to car A. So in a nutshell, that's what we mean by relative velocity. We're going to talk more about it in other videos. All right, so let's move on to describe resultant velocity, which is the next subsection in your textbooks. So resultant velocity, on the other hand, is your sum of vectors, right? Remember, when you have an object and you have forces acting upon that object, that's what's going to cause the object to move. That's what the velocity comes from. So essentially, the resultant velocity is a sum of vector forces on an object. So for example, if I have an object, I'll call it object A, and then I have a force pushing this object in this direction. I have another force pushing this object in this direction. So I have two forces. Let's call this one F, and let's call this one F. So these two forces are the same in magnitude. So my resultant force, which I'll call Fr, will be F plus F, which is equals to 2F. So that's the resultant vector, or the resultant force acting on that object. Let's give it another example. Let's say you have friction that's moving in the opposite direction. So now you have three forces acting on this object. So your resultant force, in this case Fr, will become the 2F minus your friction, because your friction is going in the opposite direction to the applied forces. Now, as convention, we always take all the forces or all the vectors go in the right direction to be positive, and all the forces or vectors going to the left as negative. All right, so that's just the convention. So again, this is just an introduction. We're going to talk about it more, and then it will begin to make more sense when we talk about resultant vectors or resultant velocity. All right, so the last section in this module, remember we are still on kinematics. So the last section, let me just erase this, is projectiles. All right, so when you look at projectiles, basically we are looking at an object that is moving along a curved line rather, and it's only subjected to the force of gravity. So you would have seen that if you throw something in the air, it will make this kind of projection. Okay, you initially give it an initial velocity that it's going to travel with, and at some point here on top, when it reaches its maximum height, it's going to stop before it falls back down due to gravity. So yeah, we're going to be looking at those examples as well. So in this video, I just wanted to give you a short introduction of what we will be doing in kinematics. So be sure to click the next video so that we can get more into the content. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and click that notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. This is a new channel, so I'm going to be uploading a lot of videos in the next coming days.